Somewhere in America right now, there is a rifle sitting in the back of a safe that the family thinks is worth maybe 500 bucks. It has an old leather sling on it. The bluing is worn from deer season. The walnut has a few honest scratches from truck seats, tree stands, and cold mornings in camp. And the scary part is this: that rifle might be worth thousands. That is how classic hunting rifles get lost. Not stolen, not destroyed, just misunderstood. Somebody inherits granddad's old deer rifle, walks into a local gun shop, takes the first offer on the counter, and only later finds out that the rifle was a pre-64 Winchester, an early Belgian Browning, a German Weatherby, or something even more serious. By then, it is gone. The American hunting rifle did not literally die in 1998. Hunters still buy rifles. Companies still build rifles. Deer camps are still alive every fall. But the old era of hand-fitted steel, real walnut, deep blue finish, and craftsmen who built rifles like they were meant to last for generations has mostly passed into history. A lot of modern rifles are built to be lighter, cheaper, faster to produce, and easier to ship. Some of them shoot great, but they do not carry the same soul, and they do not carry the same collector gravity. That is why the rifles your father, grandfather, or uncle carried from the 1950s through the 1990s deserve a much closer look. A lot of those guns were bought as working tools. They rode in pickup trucks. They leaned in deer camp corners. They filled freezers. Nobody thought of them as investment pieces. But clean, original, documented examples are now getting serious attention from collectors who know exactly what they are looking at. Today we are breaking down 10 hunting rifles that are climbing hard in collector interest and real-world market value. Some are classic American deer rifles. Some are European and British sporting rifles built for mountains, safaris, and dangerous game country. And the number one rifle on this list is not just expensive. It belongs to a class of firearms where provenance, factory records, and original condition can change the value by life-changing money. So before you sell anything out of an old gun cabinet, slow down. Do not sand the stock. Do not polish the receiver. Do not reblue the barrel. Do not let a guy at a gun show tell you it is just an old hunting rifle until you know exactly what it is. Because with these rifles, the difference between used hunting gun and collector-grade classic can be the difference between a few $100s and a small fortune. Number 10 is the Savage Model 99, especially the earlier pre-1968 examples. This is one of the great American lever-action hunting rifles, and somehow, it still does not get talked about as much as it should. Serious collectors know better. They have been buying clean Model 99s quietly for years because the rifle was ahead of its time and still has a following among hunters who understand what made it special. The Model 99 family traces back to the late 1800s, with the Model 99 entering production in 1899. What made it stand apart was the rotary spool magazine inside the receiver. That design allowed the rifle to use pointed Spitzer-style bullets in certain chamberings, instead of being limited like most traditional tubular magazine lever actions. Standard tube-fed lever guns had to use round nose or flat point bullets because the tip of one cartridge rested against the primer of the next. The Savage system avoided that problem and gave hunters a lever action that could live in a more modern rifle cartridge world. That is why the Savage 99 became such an important hunting rifle. It could run cartridges like 300 Savage and later 308 Winchester, while still giving hunters the quick handling feel of a lever gun. In deer country, especially in the Northeast, the upper Midwest, and timber country, that mattered. It was fast, it carried well, it balanced well, and it gave hunters a level of ballistic performance that older lever-action designs did not always offer. Production ran for nearly a century, with sources generally placing production from 1899 into the late 1990s. But for collectors, the earlier rifles are the ones that get attention. The pre-1968 examples carry the old-world feel. They have machined steel, American walnut, proper fitting, and a finish quality that started to fade as production methods changed across the firearms industry. That is not nostalgia talking. Anyone who has handled a clean, early Model 99 beside a later economy-era rifle can feel the difference. Back in the early 2000s, a plain but decent Savage 99 could still be found for a few $100s. Today, clean pre-1968 examples with original walnut, honest finish, and matching parts often bring far more than that, especially in desirable configurations. Deluxe grades, takedown models, pre-war examples, and scarce chamberings can move into serious money when the condition is right. Here is what you look for. Early Savage 99s often show the rotary magazine through the loading port. Many have the cartridge counter on the left side of the receiver, showing the remaining rounds. They also have the cocking indicator tied to the bolt system, and the receiver markings and serial number range help establish the production period. The most important words are always the same in the collector world: original condition, correct parts, honest finish, and no bad refinishing. If your father bought a Savage 99 in the 1950s or 1960s for deer season, do not treat it like just another old lever gun. That rifle may be worth a lot more than the average gun counter offer makes it sound. And if you think the Savage 99 is overlooked, wait until number 9, because this next rifle defined American bolt-action hunting for generations. Number 9 is the Remington Model 700, but not just any Model 700. We are talking about the early production rifles from 1962 through about 1970. This is the bolt action that became the default answer for American hunters, precision shooters, gunsmiths, and law enforcement armorers for decades. Remington introduced the Model 700 in 1962. It was designed under the influence of Remington engineer Merle Mike Walker and developed from the earlier Model 721 and Model 722 rifle families. The Model 700 went on to become one of the most important sporting bolt actions ever produced. It also became the foundation for the United States Marine Corps M40 sniper rifle and the United States Army M24 sniper weapon system. More than 5 million Model 700 rifles have been produced, which tells you how deeply this rifle is woven into American gun culture. The early guns matter because they feel different. Early Model 700s from the 1960s usually show better polish, nicer bluing, good walnut, and a level of fit that later mass-production rifles do not always match. They use the original Walker trigger design, not the incorrect Wayne Leak name that sometimes gets repeated in bad scripts and copied gun content. The bolt throw, receiver finish, and stock work on clean early ADL and BDL rifles often have a more classic feel than the later synthetic stock era guns many shooters grew up around. The famous 3 rings of steel concept is part of the Model 700's identity. The cartridge head is enclosed by the recessed bolt face. The barrel surrounds the case head area, and the receiver surrounds the barrel. That feature became a major marketing and design talking point for Remington, and it helped build confidence in the rifle's strength and accuracy. Back in 2005, a lot of early Model 700s were still being treated as plain used hunting rifles. Some sold for only a few $100s depending on condition and chambering. Today, clean 1962 to 1970 rifles with original walnut, original finish, and correct configuration are getting more respect. Standard ADL and BDL rifles can bring strong money, and special order guns, custom shop examples, rare chamberings, and factory-lettered rifles can climb far higher. Here is what you look for. Early Model 700s are identified by serial number range, original configuration, early stock features, and period-correct bluing. Original walnut stocks with basket weave or impressed checkering on certain models matter. Correct bottom metal, factory sights when applicable, and uncut stocks are important. A rifle that has been drilled, chopped, refinished, rebarreled, or restocked may still be a good shooter, but it is usually not the collector-grade example. If you have an early Remington Model 700 from your father's hunting days, do not dismiss it as common just because Remington made millions of them. Millions were made, yes. Clean first-generation examples in original condition are a different conversation. Number 8 is the Browning BAR sporting rifle, especially the early Belgian production examples. This is not the military Browning automatic rifle. This is the gas-operated semi-automatic hunting rifle, Browning built for sportsmen who wanted a faster follow-up shot than a bolt action, with the class and finish Browning buyers expected. Browning introduced the sporting BAR in the 1960s, with the redesigned sporting rifle appearing in the mid to late 1960s. Early production was tied to Belgium, and Browning's own history notes that the BAR was initially produced totally in Belgium before assembly was transferred to Portugal in the early 1970s. That detail matters because collectors tend to place a stronger premium on the earliest Belgian-marked rifles and higher-grade variants. The early BRs had the look and feel of a serious European-built hunting semi-auto. You got walnut, polished blue steel, a gas system built around sporting reliability, and the kind of handling that appealed to hunters chasing deer, elk, bear, and other big game. Grade 1 rifles were the working-class versions with checkered walnut. Higher grades added engraving, better wood, game scenes, gold accents, and presentation-level details. This is where people get confused. Later Browning BRs can still be excellent rifles. Portugal-assembled and later production guns are not automatically bad. But collector value is not only about whether a gun works. It is about production era, factory markings, grade, originality, and condition. The earliest Belgian examples and high-grade rifles sit in a different collector lane than a later working hunting rifle. In the early 2000s, plenty of Belgian BRs still sold like ordinary used semi-auto deer rifles. Today, clean Belgian examples bring much stronger money, especially with original wood, original blue finish, correct magazine, and no extra holes or questionable refinishing. Grade 2 and Grade 3 rifles can jump quickly. Grade 4 and Grade 5 rifles, especially with documentation, can become serious collector pieces. To identify one, look closely at the receiver and barrel markings, Belgian proofs, serial number pattern, grade, engraving, and stock quality. Early Belgian marked guns should show the proper Fabriek Nationale Herstal, Belgique connection, not the garbled names you sometimes see in scraped online copy. Belgian proof marks matter. Original Browning paperwork, boxes, cases, or factory documentation can add value. So before you sell a Browning BR that has been sitting in the safe since the 1960s or early 1970s, slow down. Verify exactly what it is. A plain later hunting rifle and an early high-grade Belgian BR are not the same thing, even if both say Browning on the side. Number 7 is the Sako Finnbear, also known as the L61R. This is the finished long-action bolt rifle that many serious American hunters viewed as one of the cleanest, smoothest, and best-built Magnum hunting rifles of its era. Sako is based in Riihimäki, Finland, and the L61R Finnbear was built around the long-action receiver. It was designed for larger sporting cartridges, including Magnum hunting rounds like 300 Weatherby Magnum, 338 Winchester Magnum, 375 Holland and Holland Magnum, and 7mm Remington Magnum. The Finnbear built a reputation on smooth bolt travel, strong machining, good barrels, and European walnut that did not feel like a throwaway stock blank. Sako's Finnish manufacturing background and Riihimäki location are well documented. The L61R era matters because these rifles belong to a period when Sako had a very particular identity. The actions were machined cleanly. The stocks had a European profile and often a darker tone than American walnut. The rifles carried themselves like precision hunting tools, not cheap, seasonal rack guns. If you have spent time around older hunters who bought one Sako and kept it for life, you already know the reputation. Production of the Finnbear L61R started in the 1960s and continued through the classic Sako era before later action families and model changes took over. That is why the earlier Finnbears are now a finite collector pool. Every clean rifle that remains in original configuration is one less rifle still available to the next buyer. Back in 2000, a good Finnbear could still be bought for money that now looks cheap. By 2010, values had already moved. Today, clean examples with original walnut, strong blue, matching parts, and desirable chamberings are treated very differently. Deluxe variants, rare chamberings, high-condition rifles, and guns with safari provenance can bring a premium. The identifying marks are straightforward. Look for Sako markings on the receiver, the Riihimäki, Finland barrel address, and the L61R action. One of the distinctive features is the integral scope rail machined into the receiver. Original Sako walnut often has a darker, reddish European tone compared with many American hunting stocks. Correct factory sights, floor plate, recoil pad, and sling swivels can all matter depending on the exact version. If a Sako Finnbear is sitting in your family's safe, do not assume it is just another old bolt-action deer rifle. In the collector market, finished craftsmanship has a following, and the best examples do not sit long when priced correctly. Number 6 is the Mannlicher-Schönauer hunting rifle. This is the Austrian bolt-action with the rotary magazine that became a favorite among European hunters, traveling sportsmen, and American big-game men who appreciated old-world rifle craft. The Mannlicher-Schönauer system is famous for its rotary spool magazine. The concept traces back to the designs associated with Ferdinand Mannlicher and Otto Schönauer, and the sporting rifles became known for feeding with a smooth, quiet feel that hunters still talk about today. Unlike a rough, loose, working-grade action, a good Mannlicher-Schönauer feels almost mechanical in the old watchmaker sense. It is slick, it is controlled, it is elegant. The model 1903 is especially tied to the 6.5 by 54 Mannlicher-Schönauer cartridge. Over time, the rifles appeared in multiple configurations, including carbines, half-stock rifles, full-stock rifles, and later MCA-style variants. Many had double-set triggers, allowing the shooter to press the rear trigger to set a much lighter front trigger pull. That feature was common in European sporting rifles and helped give the Mannlicher-Schönauer its refined reputation. The full-length Mannlicher stock is one of the most recognizable hunting rifle profiles ever made. It runs nearly to the muzzle and gives the rifle a sleek, compact mountain rifle look. Not every Mannlicher-Schönauer has a full-length stock, so do not assume that every example will look identical. But the full-stock carbines are the ones many American collectors picture first. The rifle also carries serious literary and hunting history. Ernest Hemingway is associated with the Mannlicher-Schönauer. Kermit Roosevelt owned one. Wealthy hunters, European sportsmen, and Indian royalty ordered rifles like these because they represented refined hunting equipment, not mass-market utility guns. Values depend heavily on model, chambering, originality, proof marks, condition, and provenance. A clean pre-World War I example can bring strong money. Interwar rifles have their own collector base. Presentation grade or engraved examples can move much higher. A rifle with documented ownership history, especially from a known hunter, estate, or safari connection, is a very different piece from a rough refinished shooter. Identifying one starts with the markings. Look for Steyr markings, Austrian proof marks, matching serial numbers, the rotary magazine system, and the correct bolt and stock configuration. If it has double-set triggers, check that they are original and functional through a qualified professional, not by somebody guessing at the counter. And never let a non-specialist sand, refinish, reblue, or freshen up a Mannlicher-Schönauer before it has been evaluated. This is one of those rifles where elegance is part of the value. A beat-up one can still be interesting. A clean, original, correct one can be a serious collector rifle. Number 5 is the Ruger No. 1 Tropical. This is the single-shot falling block hunting rifle that reminded American shooters that one shot, placed correctly, still meant something. It is also one of the most distinctive American production rifles of the late 20th century. The Ruger No. 1 was introduced in the late 1960s and built around a Farquharson-style hammerless falling block action. The design uses an underlever that lowers the breech block, exposing the chamber for loading. It is not a bolt action, it is not a lever action repeater. It is a strong, clean, single-shot rifle with classic lines and a very different personality from the average hunting rifle on the rack. The Tropical variant is the one that gets dangerous game guys and collectors leaning forward. It was chambered in heavy cartridges like .458 Winchester Magnum, .375 Holland and Holland Magnum, and later big game cartridges such as .416 Rigby, depending on production period. The concept was simple. One round, one deliberate shot, then reload. It forced discipline, it rewarded confidence, and for a certain kind of hunter, that was the whole point. Bill Ruger had a deep appreciation for classic rifle design, and the No. 1 showed it. It looked backward to the golden age of falling blocks, but it was built as a modern sporting rifle. The NRA Museum notes that the Ruger No. 1 resembles the classic Farquharson in general appearance and underlever falling block function, even though it is not a direct replica of an earlier design. Early production examples are where collectors pay attention. Rifles from the earliest production years, especially desirable tropical chamberings, can have a fit, finish, and wood quality that later examples do not always match. Original walnut, polished blue, correct sights, barrel markings, and unaltered configuration matter. The more someone improved the rifle, the more likely they hurt the collector value. Back in 2000, early Ruger No. 1 rifles could still be bought reasonably in many places. Today, clean early tropical rifles in desirable chamberings bring far more interest. Rare chamberings, discontinued configurations, and rifles connected to professional hunters or documented safari use can bring a premium. The identifying mark starts with the barrel and receiver. Early examples often carry Ruger and Company Incorporated, Southport, Connecticut markings. The falling block action is obvious when the lever lowers the breech block. The serial number places the rifle into a production range, and Ruger records or factory information can help with verification. Before we move on, imagine this. You walk into a gun shop with your grandfather's old single-shot Ruger. You ask what it is worth. Somebody offers you $400. You take it because it looks like a simple one-shot hunting rifle. A week later, that same rifle is tagged at several times that price for a collector who knew exactly what he was looking at. That kind of thing happens more often than people want to admit. Number 4 is the Pre-64 Winchester Model 70 African chambered in .458 Winchester Magnum. This is the dangerous game rifle Winchester built when American hunters wanted a serious answer to British big-bore rifles, and collectors know exactly how scarce it is. Winchester introduced the .458 Winchester Magnum in 1956 for big dangerous game, and it was first chambered in the Winchester Model 70 African rifle. The cartridge was designed to compete with classic big-bore British double rifle cartridges like .450 Nitro Express and .470 Nitro Express. It was an American dangerous game cartridge built for hunters going after the kind of animals that could kill you back. The Model 70 African was not just a standard deer rifle with a bigger hole in the barrel. It had a heavy barrel, a strong stock profile, proper sights, and the features needed for serious field use. Auction and collector descriptions note the African model's 25-inch barrel, .458 Winchester Magnum chambering, and Winchester Express micro rear sight, a feature associated specifically with the African guns. Production was very limited, with approximately 1,226 rifles made before discontinuation in 1963. That scarcity is the entire point. Pre-64 Model 70s already have a massive collector base. Add the African configuration, the .458 chambering, limited production, and original condition, and now you are in a different market. These were not common rifles sitting in every hardware store. They were specialized rifles bought by hunters, guides, and men planning serious overseas hunts. In 1990, many of these rifles had not yet reached the value they carry today. By 2010, collectors were already paying real money. Now, correct Pre-64 Model 70 African rifles with original sights, original stock, original recoil pad, and strong finish can bring significant collector prices. Documented rifles tied to professional hunters, African use, or known collections can bring more. The identifying features matter. Look for the correct African rear sight, the proper heavy barrel, super grade related features when applicable, the correct serial range, and the original Monte Carlo style stock profile with cheek piece. Do not confuse a rebarreled Model 70 with a factory African. Do not confuse a later big bore conversion with an original gun. The paperwork, configuration, and serial number context matter. If your family owns a Pre-64 Model 70 in .458 Winchester Magnum, do not sell it casually. Have it evaluated by somebody who actually understands Pre-64 Winchesters. The difference between old Winchester hunting rifle and correct Model 70 African can be thousands of dollars. Number 3 is the Weatherby Mark V, especially early German production rifles associated with J.P. Sauer & Son. This is the rifle Roy Weatherby pushed as a high-speed, high-pressure, high-gloss answer to the old hunting world. Roy Weatherby founded Weatherby Incorporated in 1945 and built his reputation around velocity. He developed cartridges like 300 Weatherby Magnum, 378 Weatherby Magnum, and 460 Weatherby Magnum, and he needed an action strong enough to support that identity. The Mark V action became the answer. It used 9 locking lugs arranged in 3 rows, giving the rifle a short bolt lift and a very strong commercial bolt-action design. The early Mark V story is more complicated than some scripts make it sound. Early production involved American-made PFI actions and then German Sauer production, with later production shifting to Japan and eventually back to the United States. For collectors, the German Sauer-made rifles have a special reputation because of their polish, fit, walnut, and classic Weatherby styling. These rifles are easy to recognize when you know the look. High-gloss blue, skip line checkering on many examples, contrasting forend and grip cap details, the distinctive Weatherby diamond inlays, a Monte Carlo stock with the unmistakable Weatherby profile. It is not subtle. It was never supposed to be subtle. Roy Weatherby built rifles for hunters who wanted speed, power, and style. The German-made Mark Vs are the ones many collectors chase. They represent the period when Weatherby had the European manufacturing connection and the full-gloss, premium image identity. Later Japanese Mark Vs can be excellent rifles and many shoot very well. But again, collector value is not the same as field usefulness. The German Sauer rifles sit in their own lane. Back in 2000, some German Mark Vs could still be bought for fairly modest money compared with today. Now, clean Sauer-made examples in desirable Weatherby Magnum chamberings draw stronger collector interest. Custom shop rifles, engraved examples, special order wood, and rifles linked to Roy Weatherby's personal circle or collection history can bring much more. The identifying mark is usually found on the barrel. Look for J.P. Sauer and Sohn markings, often with West Germany or German production indicators depending on the exact era, along with Weatherby markings. The serial number prefix and proof marks help identify the production period. Original German walnut, correct Weatherby inlays, and untouched factory finish are key. If you find one of these in a safe, do not let somebody tell you it is just a flashy old Magnum rifle. Weatherby collectors know the difference between a later hunting Mark V and an early German production rifle with the right configuration. Number 2 is the Rigby Mauser, chambered in 416 Rigby. This is one of the great dangerous game bolt-action rifles. An original John Rigby and Company rifles built on Mauser actions are in a different collector universe from ordinary sporting arms. John Rigby and Company is one of the oldest gun makers in the English-speaking world, with roots going back to Dublin in 1775. In 1911, Rigby developed the 416 Rigby cartridge for dangerous game, and rifles were built on Mauser 98 actions, including Magnum Mauser actions. The cartridge became one of the most respected, dangerous game rounds ever designed for a magazine rifle. This is where the script needs to be careful. The legend of the 416 Rigby is strongly tied to professional hunters such as Harry Selby, who used the cartridge for decades, and to the broader African dangerous game world. It is better to name the men clearly associated with the cartridge than to throw in every famous hunter and hope nobody notices. Harry Selby, John Pandoro Taylor, Jack O'Connor, and other known users helped cement the cartridge's reputation. The rifle itself mattered because it combined British gun-making standards with the Mauser-controlled feed action. That was a powerful combination. You had the reliability and strength hunters trusted in harsh country, paired with hand-fitting, hand-checkering, hand-polishing, express sights, and the bespoke style of a proper British sporting rifle. Original pre-World War II Rigby Mauser rifles are the top-tier examples. Later Rigby production still matters, but the early guns built on original Mauser actions carry historical weight that modern reproductions cannot duplicate. These rifles were not just bought for looks. They were built for Africa, India, and dangerous game work where reliability was not a talking point, it was the whole game. Values today depend on exact production period, action type, condition, originality, chambering, engraving, and provenance. A correct pre-World War II Rigby Mauser in 416 Rigby with matching numbers and documentation can bring major auction money. Rifles tied to known professional hunters, safaris, or important collections can climb much higher. Identifying one starts with the barrel markings. Look for John Rigby and Company markings, Mauser action markings, proper 416 Rigby chambering marks, and correct proof marks. Many classic examples have express rear sights, bead front sights, hand checkering, and London best style finishing. The action should be evaluated by somebody who understands Mauser sporting rifles, not somebody guessing from a picture online. If a Rigby Mauser is in your family, do not clean it aggressively. Do not refinish it. Do not reblue it. Do not replace the pad, sights, stock, or screws just to make it look newer. With rifles like this, history is part of the value. Number 1 is the Holland & Holland Royal Double Rifle. This is not just an expensive hunting rifle. This is one of the highest expressions of London gunmaking, and it sits at the top of the hunting rifle collector world for a reason. Holland & Holland was founded in London in 1835. Over time, the firm became one of the most respected names in British gunmaking. The Royal Double Rifle became one of its flagship dangerous game rifles, built as a bespoke side-by-side double rifle for hunters who wanted immediate second shot capability, mechanical elegance, and traditional British craftsmanship. Holland & Holland still describes the Royal Double Rifle as a pinnacle dangerous game rifle, built on generations of know-how. A Royal Double Rifle is built around 2 barrels regulated to shoot to the same practical point of impact at a set distance. That regulation work is part science, part craft, and part patience. The rifle uses a high-grade action, side-lock construction on many examples, careful engraving, premium wood, and individual fitting to the client. The buyer could specify caliber, barrel length, stock dimensions, engraving pattern, case accessories, and other details. This is the kind of rifle where the word factory does not really capture what is happening. Holland & Holland's own craftsmanship descriptions emphasize the hundreds of hours involved in barrel work and the hand-built precision required in actions and finishing. These rifles are not mass-produced hunting tools. They are bespoke mechanical art built to survive real field use. The most famous Royal Double Rifle in American history is Theodore Roosevelt's Holland & Holland, known as the Big Stick. It was chambered in 500/450 and built for Roosevelt before his 1909 African safari. The rifle is strongly tied to that expedition and remains one of the most famous presidential firearms in existence. In 1994, Roosevelt's Big Stick sold at auction for $500,000 before buyer's premium. It later passed through collector hands and is now part of the permanent collection at the Fraser History Museum in Louisville, Kentucky. The museum identifies it as a Holland & Holland double rifle created for Theodore Roosevelt and gifted to him in January 1909. Current Holland & Holland Royal double rifles vary heavily in value depending on caliber, age, engraving, originality, condition, and provenance. Standard used examples in classic dangerous game chamberings can already bring serious 5-figure prices. Royal Deluxe rifles, heavy Nitro Express chamberings, unusual provenance, and work by recognized master engravers can move far higher. The most important thing is documentation. A factory letter, original case, original accessories, and known ownership history can change everything. The identifying marks are specific. Look for Holland & Holland engraving on the rib and receiver, the London address on the barrel rib, matching serial numbers on action and barrels, proof marks and original case labels when present. Some rifles show the Bruton Street, London address on the rib depending on production period and configuration. Auction examples often reference Holland & Holland factory letters, confirming serial number, original specifications, and ordering details. If your family has a documented Holland & Holland rifle or any English-made side-by-side double rifle with real provenance, do not casually clean it. Do not polish it. Do not refinish it. Do not let anyone recut the checkering. Do not let anyone store it before the rifle has been properly evaluated. Contact Holland & Holland's records office or a recognized British gun specialist and get the documentation right. In rifles like this, the provenance can be worth a fortune, and the rifle itself may be one of the most valuable things your family owns. That is the list. 10 hunting rifles that are quietly becoming more important in the collector market. The Savage Model 99, the early Remington Model 700, the early Belgian Browning BAR, the Sako Finnbear L61R, the Mannlicher-Schönauer, the early Ruger No. 1 Tropical, the pre-64 Winchester Model 70 African, the German production Weatherby Mark V, the Rigby Mauser in 416 Rigby, and the Holland Royal Double Rifle. The key lesson is simple. Condition matters, originality matters, documentation matters, provenance matters. A rifle that looks like a plain old hunting gun to one person may be a serious collector piece to somebody who knows the production era, the chambering, and the correct markings. That is where people lose money. They sell the story without ever knowing the story was there. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these rifles is sitting in your safe right now? Which one did your father or grandfather carry into deer camp? Drop the rifle, the caliber, and the story in the comments. And if you ever sold a classic hunting rifle too cheap, tell us the regret story. Everybody has one. I read every single comment. If this list helped you, hit subscribe. Next week, I am breaking down the 10 most overrated modern hunting rifles in America right now. These are the rifles gun magazines keep recommending. While real hunters know they may not always be worth the money, you do not want to miss that one. Honor the hunters who carried these rifles. Honor the craftsmen who built them, and never sell a classic until you know exactly what it is.